Good afternoon, everybody. A very warm welcome from DLRC. Welcome to this webinar on online learning, where we have panelists from across the country who are joining us to share their experiences of the online learning platforms and the online learning system that we are all in now. Schools have reopened 2 months ago, so we are into this system for the past 2 months. And how is it working? And what isn't working is what we're going to discuss today. My name is Sarita Ragde, and I am a facilitator at Drive Change Learning and Resource Center, Susgaon, Pune. I am a homeroom for grade 8. I take up social studies and English with them. And I also facilitate development studies for grade 9 and 10. And I also do sociology for grades 11 and 12. So welcome again to the webinar. I would invite our panelists to introduce themselves, tell a bit about which grade they're in, which board their school is in, and what school are they in. So welcome, Rukmini, Avishi, Nidhir, and Vaidehi. Rukmini.
Yes, so my name is Rukmini and I study at Suryadatta Junior College. I'm in 12th standard and we follow the state board pattern.
All right, thank you, Rukmini. Over to you, Avishi.
Hi, my name is Avishi. I am a 15-year-old from Bangalore, and I'm currently doing my AS levels from DPS East. And yeah, we follow the Cambridge pattern, and I'm excited to be here today.
Pleasure. Vaidehi.
I'm Vaidehi Pathak. I go to DPS Pune and we follow CBSE board.
All right, and which grade are you in?
I'm in grade 11.
All right. Okay, Nidhir.
I'm Nidhir Ladha. I study in DLRC. Ours is a Cambridge board, and I'm in 12th grade now.
All right. Thank you and welcome once again. So let's start off with some questions that we had from parents and from other children, and let's see how we can answer them to the best of our capability. How do you think this online learning is happening at your school? What do you all do? Avishi?
So our school is a bit different than what I've seen other schools use. We use this platform called Entrar. It's a multifaceted platform. It's multifaceted in the sense that we receive all of our assignments, the assessment papers, our results, as well as we have the option for video calling and conducting online classrooms. As far as I'm aware, DPS and School of India are the only ones using this platform, but I'm sure there are others. This is my first year in DPS. However, I've been told that Entra was there long before I joined, but it did not have the option for online classroom. So this is something new that they've started once schools were indefinitely shut down.
Okay, so the name of the platform is Entrar.
Yes, ENTRAR, Entrar.
Oh, interesting. Okay. How about you, Vaidehi?
Our school has a similar interface where we use the school's website, where we get the links, the homeworks, the quiz results, and the meeting links.
Okay, and is there a name for that platform, or is it just your school website? How does it
It's
go?
our school website.
Okay, interesting. Okay, and how do you do your online lessons? I mean, like, your face.
Yeah, we use Google Meet for the online lessons,
Okay,
and we get
so
our
there's
links from the
Google
school.
Meet.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Vaidehi. How about you, Nidhir?
So in DLRC, we generally conduct all of our lessons over Zoom. So each teacher has one of their own Zoom IDs. So all of the classes we join from that same recurring ID, and yeah, and our homework etc. is sent separately through email, and our assignments are submitted generally on the drive that each student has their own drive, which the teacher can see, edit, and check.
Okay, all right. And what about you, Rukmini?
Our online learning starts at about 10 a.m. in the morning. We use Google Meet for our classes and Google Classroom to submit our assignments.
All right. So Google Meet and assignments through the classroom. Okay. All right. So that's the kind of platforms you're all using. Okay. The next question: how do you feel online learning is different from face-to-face learning? Yeah, give it some thought. And Vaidehi?
I think that it's not the same. Obviously, it lacks the human touch, and the lessons are going way faster than they would.
Okay.
That's one.
So the pace of the lessons have increased a lot. Is that what you feel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's no human touch.
Yeah.
I appreciate that point. All right. What about you, Abhishek? How is it any different from a face-to-face lesson?
So it's a bit more impersonal. It's a bit tough for me, especially because I've changed boards recently. I just finished ICSE in 10th grade, and now I'm doing IGCSE. Uh, and because it's a new school for me, so I don't know anybody. I don't know most of my classmates. And our school doesn't require us to switch on our cameras, so except during exams. So there's no, I don't know how most of my classmates look. Um, and it's a bit impersonal, like whether he just said there's no face-to-face learning, there's no human connection. There's only so much you can get to know about each other in 40 minutes. However, it's still interesting. It's a new way of learning, and definitely something that can be approached even when things go back to normal.
Oh, I see. So you don't mind if, in case this has to continue, maybe for some reason, yeah, maybe not on an everyday basis, but you don't mind if it is continued at least maybe once a week, twice a week?
Yeah, it's not that difficult. Like, it's not something that we're only using because it's the need of the hour. It's something that if we work on it a bit, we can get that bit of like personal touch to it as well, and it can be much more viable in the future.
Right. That's a great point. How about you, Rukmini?
I think that in online learning, we're just sitting and continuously staring at the screen. But in physical learning, a teacher can move around and there is more interaction and there are group activities. So I think that is what the basic difference is.
Okay, so group activities could be done because it's a physical space. Right now, you can't even be put into groups for something. And okay, that's interesting. How about you, Nidhir? How do you think it's any different?
So firstly, you're not sitting right next to people. You can just see them and on Zoom. So if you're on gallery view, then that's the only way you can see everybody.
Right.
That's the closest you can get to having the human touch per se.
Right.
So, and because in DLRC we're required to keep our cameras on, it also helps because you can see your other classmates. You can see what they're doing.
Okay.
If you haven't heard something, you missed out on something, then you know how to recover and do
Nice.
work. So it's better than keeping the cameras off, because keeping the cameras off is just looking at a black screen for an hour, which is
Right.
extremely boring.
Right. Okay. Also, maybe an extension to what I just asked. Do your teachers or facilitators use PPTs or anything like that? Nidhir?
Yeah. So depending on what subject and what the question or project is, we generally do use PPTs because firstly, just for me at least, making PPTs is fun. It's generally like the more fun part of doing a project or something of the sort. So when you research and make PPTs, it is because you're on an online platform. It's easier to present it. So that way, it's a good thing because it's easier to present and you can share screen and you can show other people stuff which you would have
Okay.
otherwise taken on a different device and shown them in person. So
Okay.
there is that little bit convenience and ease.
Right. Right. Vaidehi, do your teachers, facilitators use technology, or is it more of a verbal session?
We use modules which
Okay.
are class based, so those are presented, and we're also supposed to present PPTs as assignments.
Okay. How about you, Avishek?
So our teachers also use a lot of PPTs, and we have to present PPTs as well sometimes. We
Okay.
also make the use of like videos and other online websites, like Nidhir said, which would not have been possible if this was in a physical space. So yeah,
Right.
it's interesting.
Right. Rukmini, how about your school, your junior college?
Yeah, we use PPTs and sometimes Google Forms if they want to conduct quizzes.
Nice.
And we do watch videos from YouTube sometimes.
Okay, that's great. So technology is being effectively used in the classroom and maybe even beyond what it may have been in a physical space. Am I right? Yeah. Okay, that's a good takeaway. Okay. All right. Now tell me one more thing. Yeah, do you all have just academic lessons, or are they also non-academic lessons, like maybe a sports class, or do you have something like a reading class or a self-study class, or do you have an art class or a painting class, or whatever? Any extracurriculars that are happening, or is it? I mean, how's your day? How's a typical school day? Vaidehi?
We have physical education, library, and LNTS
What is
in our
LNTS,
school.
if I can
LNTS
ask?
is a class that is conducted by the school counselor once a week in
Okay,
physical school and in online school.
I
So
see.
the
So,
school,
I mean,
so if any
it's only
problems, you can
okay.
approach them.
So it's not the whole class. It's not the whole class. It can be individual. Is that what you're saying, or
No,
is it the whole class who
it's
meets
the
up?
whole class, and we have
Okay.
topics related to mental health and different things going around.
Okay. Are those classes also used to spread awareness about maybe personal
Yes,
hygiene or corona? Steps we may need to take in the future? Is it also kind of an
yes,
awareness program?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Nidhir, how are the classes at your school?
Yeah.
Do
So
you have academic and non-academic? How do they go?
yeah. So that is one thing that I really like about DLRC. So on Tuesdays, we have something called farm to table, wherein other than the fact that we learn how to make new stuff, like actually cook in the kitchen. So our teacher tells us what to do, and generally we have all the ingredients ready and we make something. But besides that, we also get information about different kinds of food, how it's made. Like once when we made pasta, we were told how pasta is manufactured, and we were asked to watch a video and a discussion was done. So that way it's a lot more engaging. And I myself at least enjoy that class, like genuinely enjoy that class. um, One more different class that we have is fiber to fabric. That is basically other than the fact that we sew clothes, we can embroider, we're taught different kinds of stitches, etc. We are also given information about, like, there's also an emotional connect to clothes, which was, they made us realize that how strong it is in the first class itself. And I didn't think it was that strong, but it is that strong of an emotional connect with clothes. So even that class is generally very engaging for me, and I actually attend it myself and do it seriously. And lastly,
Right.
one thing that we have called fun games. So that's basically just we because our teachers generally take feedback, and so we told them that it's getting a little bit too much, like burden types. So we needed something else to take our mind off when we have like a packed day, which is why they added this lesson. So there is different kinds of activities that we do that our sports teacher takes. So it's necessarily not like physical activities, but it can be something that you know something like taking a spoon and transferring water from a bowl to a glass or something like that, which challenges your cognition. Um and one more thing that I would like to mention is something called career dialogue, wherein they help us. I actually research for colleges within that one class, so everybody researches in their field of their own. And some people that have common fields, maybe somebody else can find some information about a college that they didn't know about, and that really helps them to look for admissions ahead, because now that we're in 12th grade, that really matters. So other than the fact that they tell us how to make a portfolio, then they help us research colleges, and that, according to me, is very beneficial for us.
Okay. And you said that's called career dialogue.
Yeah, career dialogue.
Okay, because you're in grade 12.
Yeah. But I mean, it was started last year, but
Uh-huh.
now it's really picking up, traction.
Okay, all right. How's it with you, Avishi? Academic, non-academic lessons? What else do you have?
So our school does a bunch of different stuff. The first is on Mondays, our school starts an hour late. So usually classes start at 8 a.m., but on Mondays they start at 9, just so that we have an extra time to get rid of the Monday blues. And on Wednesday, because we have some more heavy-handed subjects on Wednesdays, they've given us a free period in between, then a free period and then 2 classes again. And on Tuesdays, our last period is a music class, just so that we can sort of, unwind, relax, listen to some music. Our music teacher's super nice. He sings songs for us, he plays some music for us. And we get to know a bit more about how music originated. We started learning about Beethoven and Mozart. So that's pretty cool.
That's nice. Okay, Rukmini, how are your, what's a typical day like? Academic, non-academic lessons?
We have about 4 to 5 lectures in a day, and all of them are academic lectures.
Okay.
We do not have non-academic lectures, but we do have workshops from time to time, which recently we had one which taught us how to make masks and how to cook. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, nice. So there's some awareness that goes on in some schools. There's some kind of reaching out to the children in other ways, through other activities also, is what I gather from what you all just answered. Okay, that's great. Do you think online lessons are more effective than face-to-face? Maybe because of the kind of content delivery, or maybe the pace of the lesson, or the efficacy of the lesson, because there's nothing to distract. You're basically just like this in front of the screen. So does that help or not? Vaidehi.
I feel like online learning, the pace is faster than physical learning, and there's a lower participation because in our school we're not supposed to turn on the cameras. So, and one of the, I think most teachers get to know by person's expression if they understood or not, and I think that is also missing.
Because the cameras are not on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they just keep on going on, and people
Okay.
don't understand. So.
Okay. But are you allowed to ask questions?
We are,
Yeah.
but I think most people are shy to do that. So
Okay, all right.
that's
But now,
one of
in
the
case
things.
you still are not clear about something, do you reach out then to a friend, or do you reach out to your teacher maybe later?
Yeah, you can reach out to her.
Okay.
We have the email and all.
Okay.
But it's then sometimes it's too late. So if in class the teacher understands and it just goes on at that same point, so I think people understand better because it's revision types for the other kids.
Okay. So somewhere one of y'all had mentioned Google Forms is being used, to figure whether you have understood the work and whatever. Now in the quiz, now your teacher realizes that 9 out of the 10 children in the class have not understood the concept. Does she do it again, or does he hand down more homework to you? What does he do? I mean, I'm just giving you a situation. Vaidehi?
She usually goes back to the topic.
Okay.
To make people understand it.
Okay, so it's a kind of a recap that happens again, so that at least the concept is cleared, because maybe in the quiz you all didn't do too well. Is that how it is for everyone else, Nithil? Firstly, answer whether the online lessons are more effective than face-to-face. Again, for the same reason, for the content delivery and for the pace of the lesson, and also participation.
So I don't think so, because I mean, the one big advantage of having online lessons is that you can present PPTs and all that with more ease. But to be honest, if you email it to your teacher, you can have the same presentation in your school library, which is what we used to do when we were face to face. So that part is all figured out. So other than the fact that you can screen share, there's nothing really else that's different. But it's, I mean, the human touch is something that is necessary according to me, because when you're sitting with your classmates, then if you don't have to ask your teacher everything. You can ask them parallelly as the lesson is going on, and if you fall behind, you can cover it up immediately rather than wait for that 1 hour not understand everything else and then having to cover up everything else again. So I think that face-to-face lessons are better.
Okay. Okay. Avishi, what about you?
It's sort of a gray area. Obviously, there is the fact that, because we're virtually doing all of these lessons, there's a lot of connectivity issues that one may face, especially here in Bangalore. This is like monsoon season. So when it's raining a lot, there's often like connectivity issues that both either the students face or the teachers face. So it's happened where I've been logged out of class because my internet died, or it's happened to the teacher multiple times, or like their voice is breaking and it's hard for us to understand. So there's kind of like a problem that we face then, but also like Nidhir mentioned before, it's easier to present online stuff such as videos, websites that would have been difficult to present otherwise, because you'd have to like write down the information you gained from that,
Right.
and then present it to the students. So it's a gray area. It can go either way, to be honest.
Okay. How about you, Rukmini? Do you feel online lessons are more effective than the face-to-face?
I don't think so, and I agree with what whether he said that the teachers might not know if the students are mentally present.
Because of participation. Basically, is that something common that many of you all feel that children may not participate mainly because cameras are not on or the class size is big, so you just don't get the opportunity to participate. Is that what you all feel? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, Rukmini. Okay. I think somewhere I just caught what Avishi said, that in case there's a power failure or the net doesn't work or you have choppy network or whatever, then you're suddenly out of the class, or, your teacher is not online for some reason. What happens then to that lesson? Nidhir?
Yeah, so I mean that actually happened a few times before with me as well, with the teacher as well, because we can't really control that.
Right.
So what we generally do is, if it happens with a facilitator, as we call it, then the facilitator just messages us on the WhatsApp group that you should continue the discussions between yourselves, because in DLRC all the sessions are pretty much fully interactive, so we don't really depend on the facilitator as much, because we generally discuss between ourselves within the class to answer questions, to answer any doubts or whatever. So we just continue that way, and somehow that actually works out. So we actually do discussions even when the facilitator isn't there.
Okay.
And then the facilitator does come back or is even not able to come back, we are pretty much all caught up, so we don't get confused with whatever has not happened, because
Okay.
we know what there is next, because we have the textbook with us and we're discussing amongst ourselves.
Okay.
So
So
it doesn't get sacrificed as much.
Okay, great. So in a way, it's like self-driven then. So in case there are problems
Yeah.
where people are hopping on and off, at least the rest of you all
Yeah.
continue discussion and it's self-driven. Okay.
And worst comes to worst, we just call each other, and if I'll probably be on call with somebody else who is on the actual call, so then I can
Okay.
be on the actual call as well.
Okay. All right. So that you're not missing the lesson per se. Okay. All right. That's
Yeah.
good. How about you, Rukmini? What happens if there's power cut, or your teacher is not able to log in at the time of your lesson or whatever? What happens there?
The classes are rescheduled in the same week on some day, looking at the time slots which are free. And we also get assignments if the teacher cannot conduct the lecture. So she gives us assignment for that period and we complete it in that period.
Okay, so you finish it within that class and maybe you have to then upload it for feedback. But it has to be done within that class. You don't get a free class.
No.
Okay, so she makes sure that there's work given and you'll finish your work and upload it before the end of class. Awesome. How about you, Avishi?
So quite similar to what Rukmini said. So if for some reason the teacher isn't able to schedule the class at all, like it happened to us recently for our English literature class, then it's rescheduled for a different time, probably towards the evening within the same week. If the teacher isn't free at that time, like she has some prior engagements, then they either take the class later or they email us the assignments, and like Rukmini said, they have to be submitted at the end of class.
Okay.
And it's also happened that if they're unable to schedule the class for the evening, like I mentioned, we have a couple of free periods throughout the week. So sometimes the teachers can schedule the calls for those free periods as well.
Okay, and you are told in advance. It's not that, in the middle of some class, you're told the next class is your free period is gone and you're going to have another lesson there. Is it immediate or are you all told in advance?
No, we're told in advance. There's this common group with teachers, parents, students, everybody. So our class teacher messages us there at least like a day in advance to, let us all know that tomorrow you all have this class at this time. So yeah.
All right. And how about you, Vaidehi?
Like Avishi and Rukmini said, that if the teacher cannot join, we are at least given some assignment which we're supposed to complete. And if it's a planned holiday of the teacher, we have a substitution of the same teacher usually, of the same subject teacher.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. And she would run the same content that was planned, or does she take on something else altogether? I mean, I'm just asking.
No, the same content. Continue.
Okay. Wow. All right. Okay. We are waiting for questions from our audience, so please feel free. Our panelists are really good at answering whatever is given to them, so I'm sure we can pose a few questions. So I'll be waiting for some questions from the audience. In the meantime, I have a few more, so I'll go ahead with those. Avishi mentioned that she's a new student. She's just moved into this school, and you were kind of saying, I don't even know how my friends look, or maybe even how some of the teachers look, or so what happens to the new students? I mean, how are you all, how do you all ensconce to the new system? How do you all integrate?
So our school, because it's Cambridge, because it follows a Cambridge pattern, so not all students are in every single class because it depends on what subjects you choose. And the same goes for our class teacher. She teaches a subject that not everybody has taken. So every Friday after class gets over at around like 1 or 1:30, we have an interactive session where everybody is supposed to join that class. And so if there are any new students, then the teacher introduces them. They're given like time to introduce themselves, or any important announcements like when the student council elections happened, or any upcoming events as such. So that's mentioned in the interactive session. If we have any complaints or if anything wasn't working for us, so we usually try to get to know each other through the interactive session that happens every Friday.
Okay. Other than these sessions, which are driven by a teacher, do you have sessions where, or just some time with friends, with maybe no teacher around? Do you get that kind of time to just even speak to one another?
We don't. However, there is the option in English class, because like in English class, everybody has to attend because it's a compulsory subject. So the teacher switches off the public chat and we can message each other privately. So what's happened now is we have each other's numbers and we have like this class group just for the students, and we interact through there. Like if we have any problems or we need anything from each other, so we use the WhatsApp group that we have.
Okay. Okay, over to Nidhir. I know you're in grade 12, but you had a new batch of 11th graders who joined us this year. So how do you all get to interact with one another? How did you all even get to know one another's names, or,
So, Percy, to start, since our business teacher and their business teacher and economics teacher generally is just same person, it's just the same educator. So we have one common group with them that way. So we know how, what they look like also and what they are like based on one group. And the main reason is because in BLRC we have something called a morning circle, and so we have a morning circle. So in the morning circle, what happens is generally, we share news, and every Friday somebody else does, either a hobby or something of the sort, which is demonstrated. So, and since there's a general requirement that everybody's videos are on, despite, most people being sleepy during the morning circle, generally people's videos are on. So again, you know how they look. And when they talk, you know what they are like, as a person, and what their hobbies, interests are, eventually over time, you figure what kind of people, they are like, and whom, you take a shine for and who you don't.
Okay, that's nice. Vaidehi, what about you? You're in grade 11, just joined. It's your own school, I know, but how's it with maybe new people who have joined you this year?
The new people, we added them in the class group, but we haven't seen them actually, because
Okay.
our school does not have the
Video,
camera.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
So I think that at some point maybe they do feel alienated out, because most of us know each other and
Right.
there are new admissions. So
Right.
we do have a class teacher period sometimes where she takes a little bit of time, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. And in case now have you made any friends with the new, students who have joined?
Yeah, we added them into the group and now we've gotten used to them.
Okay, so at least you all
Yeah.
can do a video chat or something on your own off school,
Till now
timings.
we haven't done this,
Okay,
but
take that idea.
we can
now.
always try that.
Okay. How about you, Rukmini? You've also just joined Suryadatta?
No, I was there in 11th,
Yeah.
and I really have no idea of the new students
Okay.
because we don't have that much of interaction.
Okay. At all with your grade 11 students, like junior college, you all don't have anything that you all may meet up in common? Like
No.
a school assembly or, in fact, as I'm talking to you, I'm getting another question in my mind. What do you all do for all the special days you all would meet up? Like, Independence Day celebration, or if you all had like Founders Day or something like that, how is it celebrated now? In the past 2 months, anything that you all did where, all of you all had to come together kind of thing?
As of now, we did not, but as I earlier mentioned, we did have those workshops.
Okay.
So I hope in future, like as now Independence Day is coming, so probably we'll have a online session for that.
Okay. All right. Nidhir, I think you answered this right now, yeah? Okay. So all of you all answered this question, right? About new friends and new students who join you all. Okay, interesting. I'm just wrapping my mind around how would I make friends with someone whom I've never seen before and never met before. And it's quite interesting, yeah? All right. There's one big question that came up from a parent actually. Now that you have so much extra time at hand, does it leave you with more time to build on your hobbies or your personal interests or, something that you would love to do? Now you have a lot of extra time. That's what everybody thinks. Do you all really have a lot of extra time? Now that you don't have to travel to school, there's no sports period maybe or whatever. Abhishek?
I feel like teachers would like to believe that we do have extra time. However, we don't really, because in that extra time, we're forced to probably, help out around the house or clean my room, because I'm a quite messy person. So it's always a thing about cleaning my study table because it's always messy. However, uh, there is a bit of extra time, but the teachers do pile us with more assignments than I feel like we generally would have received. Uh, so it's again debatable, depends on how quickly you can get through the assignments, how much you understood. For me, it's a bit harder. It's a new school, new board, so it takes me a bit more time to get through them, so I don't have that much free time.
Okay.
But again, that's subjectable to, I guess, person to person.
Okay, but you are able to pursue the hobbies that you had earlier, or do you feel you're compromising on them?
I believe that if you truly love doing something, you will find a way to do it. And the 3 months of lockdown when I didn't have class, and it was, a bit of a vague thing whether I'd have the remaining boards that were left for me, that inspired me to work towards like writing more proses or writing spoken word poetry. So I guess I do have time to work on them. It's a bit less time now, but I still find time to do the things I love.
All right. Rukmini, how about you? Do you feel now that there's extra time? Are you able to do something you like other than the schoolwork?
I think that they do a lot of assignments, like Avishi said, but I do take out some time to draw and go down so that I can get myself some fresh air.
Okay, that's nice. All right. How about you, Nidhir? Do you get time to pursue your hobbies, or are you also packed with work?
So, I mean, I know that the facilitators, they generally cannot, guess how much free time we have. So when we did have more work, since our facilitators, generally we tell them that, like we're getting piled on with too much work, can you please reduce it? And then, we have a dialogue generally, and that pans out. So now we have lesser work because the facilitators understand that we don't have that much free time, because at least for me, the bus ride is 20 minutes. So I save like 40 minutes in a day. That's not that much. That's not enough for another 6 assignments. So they know that, and which is why they don't pile us with as much work as they would have otherwise. And because, I like playing football so much, I make 2 hours for it every day. So I do play football for 2 hours every day, and I'm into Formula One. So I generally watch a race every weekend, and I do follow it. And now, because our assignments are regulated, and the facilitators give us what is essential, what we need to do, and we end up doing that. So I do have enough time to be able to do that as well.
Okay, all right. How about you, Vaidehi?
As Avishi said, the assignments have increased, but at the end of the day, it's all about priorities.
Okay. So if you love something, you'll make the time, or if it's a priority,
Yeah.
you'll make the time. If you are spending 2 hours on your sport, you will still make the time no matter what. I'm liking that. That's nice. Yeah. So, but one takeaway for me is that the amount of homework or the amount of work that you're getting is a little more than what would be there in a physical environment. Yeah. Is that a takeaway?
That is true.
Okay. All right. Okay, we have some very interesting questions from our audience. Shobha George, she asks, do you feel fatigued attending the online classes over these months, or do you feel more used to it over time? Abhishek?
To answer your question, I don't know about fatigue, but I would say it's become monotonous of sorts, because every day we sit in front of the laptop in one position, and it's 40 minutes of class. Then we get like 20 minutes of break time, and then class again, break time, class again. But if this was regular school, then we'd have like a lunch break, we'd have sports periods, we'd have time to move around, even just like 5 minutes between walking from class to class. We don't have that freedom anymore. It's just us at a table. So it's become more monotonous over time than physical school would have been.
Okay. So monotony has set in more than a kind of a fatigue. Okay. All right. I'll ask the next question. We have someone from St. Michael's School. So welcome from whoever is representing St. Michael's School. Do the students feel comfortable in the way they are being assessed online? Yeah, we did have that question on how are exams conducted. Yeah, and are being assessed online through forms or through polls. Also, a lot of written work is being missed since everything is happening online. How do the children themselves accommodate over this issue? Okay, so there are two questions. Okay, do the children feel comfortable in the way they are being assessed online through forms or through poll? Vaidehi, I think you mentioned Google Forms.
My school has not taken exams till now, but we do have class tests, and those tests are being taken as quizzes, and they're evaluated by the computer, but the teacher can make changes to it.
Okay, so she can give you feedback on?
Yeah.
Okay. And
she can also change the answer, like,
okay,
because sometimes the answers are caps locked and all, so that's one of the biggest.
Okay, all right. And is that through a Google form, or how does it come? I remember one of you all saying Google form.
No, my school uses its own website, as I mentioned earlier.
Okay. So I think that was Rukmini who said, Google form. Am I right, Rukmini?
Yes.
So does it work for you?
Yeah, it does. But the problem is that where they said that if you write something in capital or don't write it properly, it ends up that the answer is wrong.
Okay. All right.
So.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, and do you all give this feedback then to your teachers, saying that it didn't allow me to write in a certain way. So can you reconsider it? Does it happen?
Yeah, we do tell it to her, and she says don't mind it because she discusses it in the next lecture.
Okay. Okay. So at least the loop is complete, right? Okay. All right. I hope we have answered your one part of the question. And the second part is, since a lot of written work is being missed, since everything is happening online, how do students themselves accommodate over this issue? So do you feel a lot of written work is not happening, Nidhir?
No. So the thing is, I mean, we generally, whenever we have certain assignments, we are told to write them. Some of them, like the notes that I make or the notes most people make, those are online, but that's fine. Because when you have to answer like 10 and 12 markers, then you need a writing practice, which we are given. Because some we are told that, okay, this can be done online because, you know, the convenience is there. So some assignments are online and some are written, but those written are generally the bigger and the more, you know, the formative ones. So we get that writing practice as well, and we don't lose that touch.
All right. Okay. All right. I'll go to the next question from Ajay Dalmia. Even when you are allowed to attend face-to-face lessons, would you prefer to have some lessons online and some lessons face-to-face? That is what we asked in between, right? Whether, even though this format is working, or maybe not working in all ways, would you still like to have some lessons face-to-face and some lessons online? Rukmini.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because then there'll be a change and it won't be monotonous.
Okay, so the monotony that Avishi just mentioned, that can be broken with some face-to-face maybe and some online lessons. Okay, what do you feel, Vaidehi?
I feel like it would be nice because there are pros and cons to everything. So
Okay, all right. What about you, Avishi? It was your idea somewhere that, you know, a few online may do some good, even though we may get back to the physical space. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's been mentioned through the course of this, there's a lot of stuff that's easier to present while online. So probably when we have to present such stuff, like I can't say for DPS, but in my past school, often like when we used to bring pen drives or CDs to present it in class, the format wouldn't be compatible, or the system would stop working, and then we'd have to like move to a different class, find a working projector, or wait for the next day, call somebody from IT to help us out. So I guess when we're doing that online, it's just easier to press a button and share our screen. However, physical touch is very important, so there should be a balance between both is what I feel.
Okay, great. I hope that's answered your question, Ajay. Okay, Amit is asking, would students prefer if schools mandate them to be seated and dressed in uniform, or at least in some kind of said attire like jeans and t-shirt? As we see as parents, kids just get up at the last moment and in their jammies, that was not written here, but I'm adding it. And because the camera is off, they don't even bother to get out of bed. So do you feel that you'll need to be well dressed even though your cameras are off, or at least you need to like be awake for your class? Nidhir?
So, this is a weird kind of point to answer, but so I mean, we have to be dressed, obviously. But how, even though our camera is on, how we dress doesn't really matter, at least to me. Or I don't know how much it matters to a facilitator, because I mean, being awake is a point, yes, because in class we have to know what's going on. But being awake is a thing that I agree with, because we have to be awake, yes. But being dressed, being in your nightdress or whatever for the entire day, I don't really think that makes a difference much, because sometimes if you wake up late for a class, you have to be there. You can't wait. You can waste time changing and then go to class. So I mean, as long as you're awake and in class, because the camera is on, so they know if you're awake. So
Right.
if you're awake and in class and listening, I think that should be fine, I think.
Okay. And maybe in your school, they expect the camera to be on, but maybe in other
Yeah.
schools, I think Amit is asking because maybe in other schools, the camera is not even on. And in fact, even our other friends here, maybe it's not mandatory to put on the camera. So then can you be with toothbrush and jammies and then food and then breakfast and, not really pay attention in the class is what maybe Amit is trying to get at. So
I mean,
thank
the
you for
not
answering
really
that.
attention part is more based on your mental state rather than what you're physically wearing, I think.
Nice, nice. Okay. Avisha, what do you feel? I'll take another take.
Like Nidhi said, as long as you're there, you're attentive. Clothes don't really matter. Like even now, you can just see like part of my shoulders. So uh, I don't see how wearing a uniform would affect this.
Okay.
But it does give you motivation to like wake up a bit more earlier and not just sit in front of class like 2 minutes before it started, because you have to get up, comb your hair, look a bit presentable, change into a uniform, maybe wash your face so you're a bit more awake. Uh, like it's about attention span probably, like how much
Okay.
effort are you willing to put into attending this class.
Okay.
So it's debatable again.
Okay. Thank you for that, Avishi. I'll ask the next question. Okay, somebody is asking. Amit is again asking, would students prefer that camera is on or off for them? What would students prefer? Rukmini, what would you prefer?
That depends actually, because I mean, for us, we don't have to switch on our cameras. I don't know, maybe the teacher wants us to switch off the camera because she wants to see if we're paying attention or not.
Okay. So if that's the case, I'm asking another question and maybe Vaidehi can answer that. Now, I know even in your school, you all don't need to keep the cameras on. But now
Yeah.
in case the teacher wants to see whether you all are attentive or not and she calls out your name, yeah, are you all
Yeah.
still supposed to switch on your camera or you can answer without having your camera on?
If she's asking us a question, then we can answer without having our camera on. But if she specifically asks us to turn on the camera, of course we have to.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's great. Okay, thank you for answering that. Mona Dalmia is asking, would you say that online learning is a boon or a bane and why? So I think I'll ask all four of you all to answer that. I'll call out your names and maybe you can just think about it for a few seconds and then answer. Would you say that online learning is a boon or a bane and why? Nidhir?
Okay, I can't choose one side per se. I would say that it's a mixed blessing because there's pros and cons.
Okay.
I mean, as everybody so far has made it, I think abundantly clear that there is some good things and there's some bad things. So I don't think I can call it either a boon or a bane. I can't really pick one because there is some things about physical learning that I do miss, and there is something about online learning that add convenience to a certain level. And considering how it's a health hazard right now, it's pretty much what we need to do. So
Okay. So I liked what you said, mixed blessing. Okay. So you feel it's both, it's got both sides. It's like two sides of a coin and it's how you take it because of the situation you are in. Yeah. Where safety or your health is more of priority than, the regular learning that anyway happens. Yeah. Okay. That's nice. Avishi, what about you?
I would definitely say it's a boon, irrespective of all of the negative things I've said in this webinar. And I say this for one specific reason. So I have a couple of friends who've changed to different syllabuses and their schools haven't started yet. So I have this friend in Mumbai whose school will probably start in like late September, early October. And so she's in 11th as well, and she was in ICSE with me. So her exams got over in March. And so like for the past 5 months she doesn't have anything to do. So every day when we talk, she has nothing to do, she's extremely bored. She got a pet rabbit to take care of because she didn't have anything else to do. So I guess even though it's monotonous, even though it gets tiring, it still keeps us occupied for a large part of our day. And for that I thank it, because I don't think so I'd be able to survive going 5 months without doing anything, especially because it happened all of a sudden. Like we were writing boards, we had such an active lifestyle, we weren't sleeping properly, we were studying the whole day, and then we went like from writing that to all of a sudden just being forced to sit at home, not being able to step out of the house or do anything fun, anything interactive with our friends. So definitely I think online school is a boom right now.
Okay. What about you, Rukmini? Rukmini?
Yes, I think I go with what Nidhi said, because really it is a mixed thing. So I really can't say anything more than that.
Okay. Vaidehi, what do you feel?
I also agree with Nidir.
Okay.
It's not a blessing, it's not a curse.
Okay.
It's not black and white basically. It's gray. You can't choose.
Okay. Nice. All right. Um, how many students are there in an online class? In DLRC, students are less, so online classes go on smoothly. Okay, I didn't get that question. Are you basically asking, Shilpa, how many students are there in an online class? Okay. Avishi, how many are there in your school in an online class on an average?
So our class has the strength of about like 25 kids. However, because we choose our subjects and not everybody's in every class, so the strength varies. Like in math, we have about like 14 people, but in English, we're just three. So in English literature, so it depends from subject to subject.
Okay, all right. Vaidehi, how's it at your school?
We have around 25 people as well, but we have all 25 in all 5 subjects.
Okay, all right. So it's a continuous 25 kids in every subject.
Yeah.
Okay. How's it at your school, Nidir?
So like they said, DLRC, there is generally lesser people in each class because it's Cambridge. So for each class, you have different number of people depending on who's chosen the subject and who's not. So like in English, we have about 10, about 12 to 13 people.
Mm-hmm.
And in something like, a biology lesson, we have only 6 people. So
Okay.
there's varying levels of, students in a class.
All
But
right.
I would say that's pretty much like the way lessons go is standard across, for all classes, irrespective of how many students there are, because they're all pretty much very discussion and interaction based. So it doesn't really make a difference how many there are. There's just less and more opinions about the same thing.
Okay. All right. And what about you, Rukmini? How many kids in your class?
We don't have sections as such, so we have one class in all. So we have about 90 to 100 students, but only 40 or 50 students attend the class at a time, and also it depends from subject to subject. So in maths, we have a really less number. Otherwise, the other subjects have a really like 40 to 50 students in our class.
Okay. All right. So that means there are around 90 to 100 students in grade 12, but you are having only around 40 to 50 who actually attend the online session. Am I right? Did I get that right? Yeah. Okay. And in some, maybe in math, you have even lesser students who come. Okay. All right. All right. Another interesting question from Shilpa. Do you miss the laboratory? How do you understand the concepts without doing practicals? Right. So Vaidehi can answer that. And Rukmini.
The labs, obviously, it's harder because we're not actually in the lab performing it. We're just watching a video of a person doing it. So it will be hard because also our internal assessments are based on that. So that is another one of the things.
Okay. But have they told you all some other way that they may assess you till you really get to being in the lab?
Till now, we haven't been told anything, but yeah, we've just shown videos to check it off the syllabus. Like we did this.
Okay. All right. Okay. So another interesting question is, we all know the benefits of having face-to-face lessons. From a student's point of view, what are the pros of having a lesson online from the student's perspective? Yeah. So I think we kind of answered that. Yeah. The pros of having online. You all did mention use of technology. Am I right? You all mentioned that you all can use websites that you couldn't have used maybe otherwise. You all did mention that you all are using PowerPoints or PPTs to kind of get content across. And so are your teachers and facilitators. They are using videos. They are using PPTs. They are having a lot of use of technology online, yeah, to make your classes interesting. So I hope that answers your question, Ajay. The kids did answer that some time back. Okay, I have a few more questions. We have 4 minutes left for this webinar. but I think we will take on some questions. And maybe for all the audience who are with us, if we do exceed beyond 3 p.m., do stay on, because these kids are really answering questions. They are on fire, and I'm loving this conversation that we are having. So stay put, everyone. Okay, Earth Salgia is asking, what do you miss most about face-to-face school? And how do you think that can be accommodated during online learning? Oh, that's a good question. What do you miss most about face-to-face school? And how do you think that can be accommodated during online learning? Vaidehi?
I think that you don't actually meet people on online schools, and I think the overall environment of the school.
Okay. So the
That is something
interaction,
that is
basically,
missing.
that's what you're saying? Yeah, the interaction
Yeah.
that you could have had with people is not there.
Yeah,
Because
in physical school, it was not only academics, we also actually met people.
right,
While in online school, it's just academics.
right. So
Nothing
is there some
else.
way that can be done in an online format, somewhere where you can interact?
I think that the homeroom periods people are having, that is
Okay.
one of the ways
Okay.
they are trying to include all of this.
Okay, Rukmini, what do you feel? What can be done to replicate the experience of a face-to-face environment or a physical environment in the virtual space? What are you missing the most about your face-to-face interactions or lessons?
So I miss my sports periods the most, and that really cannot be replaced. But otherwise, like where they said that you get to meet people, I think that is what is one of the drawbacks of online learning.
Right. So you do miss the sports lessons. Okay.
Yes,
You miss the
I
sports
miss them
lesson.
a lot because I
Okay.
love playing basketball.
Okay, you love playing basketball, and obviously it's not something that can be done in a virtual space. All right, interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Avishi, what do you feel between a face-to-face lesson and what can be replicated to make the online experience more humane?
At this moment, because Independence Day is approaching, it would probably be all of the cultural events, because by now the schools would be in full swing preparing for said events.
Do you all have independent IDs, or you said you'll have Google Classroom or Entrar, or you have your own platform through your website, so you all may be having your own logins, right? But do you have someone who swipes away your homework or gives you fun feedback on it instead of serious feedback or something like that? Is what I think Deepa is trying to ask. Do you all ever have something like that happening? Rukmini?
Did have that once, wherein some of the hackers took our names and they got into the meeting and caused disturbance. And that was when we had our independent IDs. But then after that, the college made ID for us. So
Okay.
it is to the college, and now we don't have that much of disturbance.
Okay, so your college had to make the provision of getting you, secure IDs, if I can say that, and making
Yeah,
sure that it's only your login and cannot be through any other person, or kind of nobody else can hop in to the list.
yeah.
Okay, interesting. Anybody else in a similar situation in your school where your IDs may be hacked or somebody's hacked your homework or something and said it's mine? Because especially if you're a new student, your teacher won't even know your handwriting, right? Don't get ideas, but yeah. Vaidehi, anything like that in your school?
Not hacking, but there are people who join the class who are not in, like,
Oh, wow.
my subjects are PCM.
Mm-hmm.
So people from commerce might join in. So
Okay.
that's one thing that our school is facing.
Okay, but is that a good thing? I mean, if somebody else joins, unless there's a different motive, but if you're learning a subject and you're genuinely interested, I
No,
think it's okay.
it's actually disturbing because it's supposed to be that class, and then they
Okay.
just come in, and then the teachers like questioning
Oh.
why are they here, and
Oh.
it just goes downhill.
Right. So that means it's more of a disturbance than, trying
Yeah.
to just sit quietly and maybe actually listen in. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Anything at your school, Abhishek?
Not hacking as such, because we're all given personal IDs and they stay logged in on the website. But it's happened where we can't join the classes.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher may not have given us approval. I don't know. There's some way that they set the limit of how many people can join. So it's
Okay.
happened that we aren't able to join classes, but not hacking as such.
Okay. Nidhir, at your school, has there been any incidents of from
No,
your drive, your work goes into somebody else's drive and it's like claimed as their own?
not yet, no. And
Okay.
I don't want to jinx it, so not
Okay.
happening.
Okay.
I don't think it will
Nobody's
happen.
listening to this. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that was Deepa's question. All right. And we have some question that is very pertinent to all of us. And it's all four of you all. The last two questions to go. How do you think your facilitators or your teachers can support you in making this system work for you? We know that we are in the month of August now. Maybe another month, maybe another 2 months, we will still be in this situation of online learning. So how do you think your teachers can make it more interesting? How do you think they can support you? What are your thoughts on it? Avishai?
One thing that I feel, like I've said before, it becomes monotonous to sit through 5 classes a day and just like 40 minutes just listening to the teachers talk. So maybe some fun activities that could happen every once in a while related to the topic, like don't go completely off course,
Mm-hmm.
could kind of keep us, keep our brains stimulated during class, and that would probably be much more fun.
Mm-hmm.
And probably another great thing that I would feel is industry webinars such as this, where you have like professionals in the field,
Mm-hmm.
hold such webinars, because right
Mm-hmm.
now there's no limitation on like travel, like nobody has to leave anywhere. So you can probably reach to other people in other cities as well who are good at what they do, so that they can hopefully inspire some children as well. And the last thing, our school doesn't have any form of making us do like physical movement or any as such. So maybe like even 20 minutes a week, if they're giving us to just, have us like move around, so that will keep us stimulated. So I feel like that would go a long way in helping us pay attention to what we're learning.
So basically, you're saying if the monotony of the class can be handled by giving maybe some fun activities or maybe trying to get you all to move around a bit, that would help you all rather than saying put like this for 40 minutes.
Yes,
Okay,
like
that's
Nidhir
good feedback.
mentioned, he has this cooking lesson where they have to actually, physically make the food and show it to to their facilitators. So if something like that could be implemented in our schools, then that would like motivate us to get out of the room, do something, move around a bit, so that would make it much more interesting as well.
Nice. So some activities so that at least you're not stuck in one place for 5 lessons. Got it. What do you say, Rukmini? What can your teachers do to make this whole experience more enjoyable and meaningful?
I think they can hold more interactive sessions and, like I said, those workshops. And also nowadays, a few days back, my brother had a online parent-teacher meeting. So probably that is also a new thing which can happen.
Okay, so where there is more interaction, so I can see a common thread coming out here, that more interaction in some way, where even you are allowed to talk or you are allowed to interact in some way with your peers, with your teachers, with your facilitators, would be a good way to go, right? And that's the kind of help you're looking for. Vaidehi, what about you?
I agree with Rukmini. I feel like there could be activities conducted related to the topic and discussions, obviously.
All right, thank you. Nidhir?
So like our like DLRC already has so many of the activities that others would have hoped to have. Since we have the benefit of already having those, so that is one thing that helps. And besides from the fact that we have these activities, sometimes when the work gets too much, we tell our facilitators, and because through that dialogue we can regulate our own work. And when we do regulate our work, then they would expect us to do it, which we do. So we do our work once we have that dialogue and we know what work to do and time limits, etc. And there, other than everything that's already happening, I don't think anything else can be done from like anybody's side, other than just the fact that they know that we need time for hobbies, which I do make, but I'm not sure everybody does that. So if like when the facilitators do tell us that you should make time for your hobbies and not just stick to your books, it's I can't stick to my books. It's not physically possible for me. So if some do that out of stress or something, managing that is more important than anything else right now.
Okay. All right. So, all right. That's from what maybe the school system or the facilitators or teachers can do to make your learning experience more interesting. I have one last question before we wind up. It's 3:10 on the clock. We'll take on this last question. How do you think your parents can support you? We spoke of teachers, we spoke of friends, we spoke of peers and classmates. Let's now come to the point. How can your parents support you in this journey? You're at home, your parents are at home working, and everything is happening side by side. So how do you think your parents can support you in this journey? Rukmini?
I think they know a lot more than us. So probably they can help us in technological stuff and also other things.
Nice. Okay. You're on mute again, Rukmini. I couldn't get your last line. You said they're tech savvy, so they need to help us. Did you say something beyond?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said that they call us a tech savvy generation, but the thing is that they know more than us because of the experience that they've had in those related fields.
Okay, so that's one way they can kind of guide and help you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Lovely. Nidhir, what do you say? How would you want your parents to help you in this current situation?
I mean, to be fair, it is the first time for them as well. I don't think they faced many pandemics before this, but this online lesson situation it'll be different for them as well, because having a call online between like people sitting in different countries and having classes online is a very different kind of feel. So other than the fact that they just let us do our own work, get on with our own responsibility, because it's new for them and it's new for us. So I guess we are the best. We have the best judgment of our own work and how much we need to spare. But other than that, I think just the motivation helps. But about it, I mean, the motivation and they know how we feel about this and how it can be challenging for us if they do understand that, which I think they do now. It's been a while now. It's been more than a month, so I think they know what to expect from these classes, what our reaction to these classes will be, and how to support us in that sense. So I think that area is pretty much covered for now. I don't think there's anything else they can do.
Okay, all right. How about you, Avishi? How do you think your parents can support you at this point?
So I feel like our parents are pretty supportive. Like Nidhir said, it's new to them as well. It's new to all of us. We're all navigating this area together. However, one thing that's been the most significant is the loss of time we spend with our friends, because I don't have a lot of friends in my layout because everybody's moved. So so the people I used to meet, they live far away, so it's kind of hard for me to meet them. So maybe they could work towards maybe playing that role, encouraging us to like go out with them on walks maybe, or play some board games with us, or I don't know, just sort of be there like a friend, because we've lost that contact. Like, how much can you talk to a person online? It gets kind of boring after a while. You may not be online at the same time, but you are stuck with the same people in the same house. So I guess maybe that way we can be motivated somewhere.
True. Wonderful. Okay. So maybe even a lovely evening walk or a board game can keep you all going. Yeah. Nice. That's lovely. Vaidehi, that's the last question and the last answer for this webinar. Yes, Vaidehi.
I agree with Nidhir. We're all new to this, and I think it's been 3 months since my online classes started, so I think we've all just settled into it now. and it's the new normal.
Okay, I love that. That's the new normal. Wow. I think I must commend all of you all. You all speak way beyond your age. Very, very mature panelists. It was a pleasure to have Vaidehi, Rukmini, Nidhir, and Avishi today with us from schools across Pune and one from Bangalore. It's been a lovely discussion, a lot of insightful conversations that we have had today, a lot of good questions that our audience asked. And I think as a community, we learn a lot when we have these webinars. So I think it's been very insightful for me and also very enlightening to hear from 16, 17, 18-year-old children. I think that's wonderful. We grow. We're all co-learners and we grow together. Yeah. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. This was a webinar from Team DLRC, Drive Change and Learning Center, Susgaon, Pune. Do visit us on our website, www.dlrc.in. And all the very best in all you do, guys. Thank you very much for being with us today. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for
You're
having
welcome.
us.
This was lovely.
Thank you.